Joining me now, the Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Defence is here. James Bezan, Jack Harris is the NDP's defence critic. He is in St. John's, and in Vancouver, Joyce Murray is the Liberal defence critic. Mr. Bezan, good to see you. Any more information about these envelopes that four ministers received today?
I have none at all. All I've seen is what's been on the news, to tell you the truth, and just a statement from Minister Blaney. Of course, we are really concerned about this and condemn this type of mailing and delivery. We're very concerned about the safety of our staff, about all members of Parliament, of all parties. We don't want to see anyone receiving any dangerous materials in the mail. But at this point in time, we don't know who the perpetrators are, if it's a prank or if this is a serious terrorist threat. We just don't know, and it would be tough to speculate at this point in time.
I walked by the Prime Minister's office, the PMO's office, and of course lots of security around there today. Can you tell me if MPs, other cabinet minister or all MPs, because of the threat that said Conservatives, you will be annihilated, are other MPs or ministers on high alert? Has the threat level been raised at all?
I believe all members of Parliament were alerted to this mailing today, and that we are all to make sure we use extreme caution, that all our staff use extreme caution of any suspicious deliveries made, whether it comes through the Postal Service or courier service or anyone dropping off any packages at either our Hill offices or in the constituency.
Mr. Harris, what's your reaction to this? Are you taking new, or your members of your caucus taking new precautions?
No, I think we've got, as James said, we all have received a notification today, a reminder of what to look for in terms of suspicious packages. There was some indication that there were some received in constituency offices across the country. So obviously the safety of our employees and staff and our offices is a top priority. But as James says, this is all speculation at this point, whether we're dealing with a prank or somebody trying to just to stir up news or trouble, or what we're dealing with. But clearly we have to be conscious of the fact that people who are up to something, whether for prank purposes or political purposes or whatever purpose, we ought to be aware of these things and be cautious at all times.
And obviously, for the NDP, we've got many members of your caucus are Quebec MPs. What about the Liberals, Joyce Murray? Obviously, you, like all MPs, received this notice. Any reaction?
Very disturbing, and Evan, it reminds me and makes me think about the role that our staff in our offices play. I mean, they are on the front lines of the public reaction to things, whether it's being yelled at on the phone or emails coming in when people are displeased with something that's going on in federal politics. So my thoughts are with the staff in the four offices that received these envelopes, but also to MP office staff right across the country who do such a great job and are right on the front lines of these kinds of sometimes horrible reactions and responses from the public.
Okay, we have a debate about the anti-terror legislation, and I'm going to get to that in a minute, but I just want to catch people up on the other bit of news today on the Iraq mission. Now, the Department of Defense gave an briefing today, noting there's been one more Canadian airstrike by CF-18s in northern Iraq that took out 3 ISIS fighting positions, according to the military. No more firefights since the last update. We also learned today, though, that the Defence Minister, Rob Nicholson, visited a Canadian Special Forces group in Iraq, and he was asked there about extending the mission, which is up on April 7th. So this is a very critical part of this. Let me just show you what he said.
The government made a decision that we would have a 6-month mandate, and that was approved as well by Parliament. And so we've committed to revisiting the issue. And so part of my trip here is to gather comments and information that I will take back with me to Ottawa.
Mr. Bezan, how much lead time will the government give Parliament on the extension? Because the signals have been from your government that you're there to the end and there will be an extension.
Well, look, first of all, Minister Nicholson is now the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and he was there in his capacity as Foreign Affairs. I think he said National Defense, and we do believe in bearing our share of the load in this fight against ISIL. And the minister was there talking to members of government in the Kurdistan area, in the Iraqi government, along with meeting in Dubai and Jordan, Saudi Arabia. So he's met with a lot of players and talked about what we can do to stem the flow of foreign fighters, what we can do to stop the spread of ISIL within the region, and also making a commitment that we'll continue on with our humanitarian efforts and helping democracy in the region.
But any signals that this mission goes past April 7th? Is your government keen to continue the fight against ISIS?
There's no decisions have been made yet, but the government is looking at all its options, and when the government has made that decision, there will be a motion to extend, if that is the decision. A motion will be brought before the House of Commons for debate and hopefully approval.
All right, Mr. Harris, your reaction to the Foreign Affairs Minister in Iraq today and what he said?
Well, first of all, you know, it's a big contrast between this foreign minister's visit to Iraq and the region and Mr. Beard last summer. When Mr. Beard went, he brought along the opposition foreign affairs critics to get engaged in the consultations, to meet with the leadership there in the Kurdistan and Erbil and also in Baghdad. And Mr. Baird, before he even got back, giving an assessment report, and of course we know what they heard there, but before he was back, the government had committed itself to sending troops. We don't know what's going on there. We don't know anything new from today. We don't have our foreign affairs critic, Paul Dewar, wasn't invited to participate, so they don't seem to be interested in having a consultation that includes the opposition parties as well. And all we've heard today is a little bit of rhetoric, some of it very worrying, actually, talking about how we're here for the long haul, like in Afghanistan. Does this mean we're looking at the possibility of an open-ended, long-term commitment like that? And we don't really, you know, we didn't trust the government back in September, and we certainly don't trust the kind of rhetoric and information that we're hearing now.
All right, Joyce Murray, what's your sense as I read through his transcript, the Foreign Affairs Minister Nicholson, on this sort of secret trip to Iraq with the special forces? Is he sending a signal?
Sorry, what was the question?
Is he sending a signal that they're going to continue the mission?
It's not a very clear signal one way or another. I mean, it's a signal that the government is supportive of being part of the global fight against ISIS. So was our party, in fact. They talked about the various ways to contribute. What I would ask is that this debate happen with Parliament in a way that's transparent and has detailed information this time. We know that in the past we were given fuzzy information about what the special forces would be doing. Prime Minister said they would be behind the wire. Turns out they were in firefights. Then there was disagreements as to how the mission works between Minister and Prime Minister and Chief of Defence Staff and so on. Let's have some clear information this time, clear information on costs, on what the government is planning, and have them come straight to Parliament to talk about it when they have a motion to propose.
All right, I got to leave it there with James Bezan, Jack Harris, and Joyce Murray. Lots to discuss on that. I appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Evan.
Thanks so much.